Thanks. Um, Estimating production and site work is absolutely outstanding, and I think that actually will serve as a protocol on conditions, site conditions on the moon, and how we have to think about that in production analysis. It's a really good case study. Um, and Dr. Brad Hyatt and Dr. Vishish Singh has also submitted some really outstanding papers as well. So we're hovering around 20 pages, and that needs to be reduced. Originally, Johns Hopkins gave us a goal to only go 5 pages, which that's unrealistic based on the size and the girth of this study. So we'll have to decide what that sweet spot is, knowing that we will do periodicals. But what I would like is at least the authors that brought in the first clump, we tie it all into the master one and as part of the first publication. Um, as far as the main theory piece, it's way too big. It was 10 pages. It got out of review at UC Davis, and there was blood all over it, which I expected. But it needs to be reduced. We need to enter actual case studies here in uh, terrestrially speaking, and why do they go over budget, and what are we actually fixing? Because we attacked what we're going to do, but we didn't really, I'm going to fall on the sword on this one. We didn't really tie it back to a case, that we can relate to. So it was too inside of a paper, and also just needs to be reduced. So. Okay. But the review has been done, so now it's adjustment, and its review was done actually about a couple months ago, quite a few months ago, actually. Okay. So let's talk about now authors. If because we're doing uh, periodical publications, if anyone has things that they want to contribute, please do that. And I'm not, I think it's a group decision, not my decision of what we want to include on the first one. My suggestion is the stuff that we have. Steve, I think you were going to write a piece for us, and Steve Furr, and then also Patrick, you were going to write something on risk allocation or something like that. But we can talk
Yes.
about it. Okay. Um,
Yep, I am still planning on writing that. I have not yet started, though.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. As you can see, we're behind, but I think we're back on track now, and we expect things to move quite along. So you're not holding anything up, that's for sure. All right, so let's talk about this. We need peer reviewers. We've been going back and forth on what peer reviewers will do, but I think anyone in this think tank could be a peer reviewer. We just have to come up with a way to articulate so we don't have just a whole bunch of erroneous input that's going to be very difficult to get through all of that. But if you have, Anne, I'm going to use you as the person of contact. And if you could maybe send your email out to the group chat. Anyone who wants to be a peer reviewer, please contact Anne. If you want to write an article, or excuse me, want to contribute in the actual writing, also let Anne know, and then myself or Patrick or we'll contact you. And it's we're all welcome to contribute. Early on, this has been about a year and a half to 2 years, I think, that we've been working on this. Early on, we made a commitment that not one person or one perception can solve this problem. It's so complex. We need many minds and many sides of the industry to tackle this problem. Next is so authors peer review. Next is the core group. Patrick and I were talking this morning. We feel that that, and I agree with Patrick as well. Uh, we think strongly that a weekly for the core group, a weekly meeting, at least for the first month or so, just to keep things back on track and keep it moving, will be required. So if you'd like to be in the core group, please email Ann. I'll be also, if I don't see your name coming into Ann, I'll probably email you and bug you to be part of the core group. Um, but it's this is so big. It is very difficult for one or two or three people, to be involved with this and move. That's a lot of weight to move. So if you can contribute, core group is opinion essentially, and I'm not sure. Patrick, maybe you can go. Maybe you can later on when I pass the reins to you, you can maybe let us know what you think a core group is. Next is the general group. That wouldn't necessarily be every week. It would be a monthly. And then the TV show update. Let me just give that to you right now. We're still Townsend, uh, uh, Turner Townsend is one of the main sponsors, and that's Patrick Duke's company. And we're still looking for full funding, but we over the last 6, 7 months we really haven't been pounding that very hard. I think now that it's becoming real and we're hitting where we're going to be publishing that, and we're now kind of wrapping up this large endeavor, we'll be a little more active on that, and it's truly exciting. But I'll need help with getting that together as well. It's not just one person. It'll be several people involved that will be interviewed and multiple locations that the production company um, shoots. We're thinking probably more than likely Johns Hopkins and UC Davis are the two likely candidates for shooting. Uh, next, oops, sorry, folks. Next is NDA forms. Patrick, I reviewed the NDA you had put together. I think it's necessary, and I think the one that you put together is very good. It's not intimidating. It's very rational, and it just essentially says, "Hey, everyone here, the work that we do doesn't isn't owned by the research group. It's still your information. No one gets right to it unless it's so. In other words, if it was your information, or I guess if I'm not saying this, Patrick, please chime in. But if you owned or was your intellectual property ahead of time, it still is. Just because you give
Right.
your input as a professional doesn't mean you're giving up any right to that, and it really just states that. And is that pretty much it, Patrick, on
That's
that? Or
correct. Yeah, we tried
yeah,
to make it very simple and something that people it would not require exhaustive legal review. Put it that way.
yeah, yeah,
But we
and
wanted
it
something simple to protect the institutions who are working on this,
yeah.
and also, but provide you guys with a link to private industry and other public agencies so that they would also feel protected as well.
Yeah, I really appreciated how you put that together. It was awesome. It was my first caution when I look at an NDA is how restrictive is it, and it was done very well. So. Data room access, I'm, I don't, it's not recommended that we give data room access to everyone. We just have to figure out who that is. And I would say, obviously, if you're part of the think tank, and you are because you're here online, you would get access to the room. But it wouldn't be necessarily access that we would publish out in the private or out in the industry where people would just come in and look at anything at any time, because there's half baked work in there. things of that nature. We'll have to have a public facing room that maybe we'll talk to Ann about. Um, all right. Since as part of the review and also just lessons learned over the hiatus here, and also fellow colleagues, there's a couple sections that we have to address, which would be AI usage within the process. And we do have a couple of AI experts in the think tank, so I'll be reaching out to them. If you'd like to be part of that and help write a section on that, please contact Anne. Um, the next is production cost models. As we all know, most of us are estimators. Very quickly, we all know that identifying unit, identifying the item to a clarity needed, a unit that is tied to that meaning of the clarity needed, and then a very complex number that also equals time. And we all know that labor, or excuse me, production is extremely important and very difficult. And here in terrestrial estimating is the riskiest part of any estimate. It's the hardest to predict. And so we need to address this. And we have Hilti's joined the team. We have Craig who does robotics with Hilti and some cool things. Greg, are you online? I'm not. Let me see here. He was
Yes, I
just
am.
jumped.
I am here,
Oh,
Paul.
great. Good to see you. I'm glad you joined us today. But I'd like to, have a like a sub team committee uh, that would address how are we going to figure production in an estimate. It is one of the main functions of estimating. Remember, an astronaut is probably going to be $2 million a day. And it's the supply chain is about as difficult as it gets. So we do have to address that. And let me go back to my screen here. I'm not sure why I lost my. I lost the screen again. What was the next one on the list? What was the next one on the agenda list?
Oh, yeah, AI.
AI. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to address that. We have to have a section on AI and the guardrails of which we use it. And the reason is um, the team has been talking about something called Judgment Gate, which is a protocol of using AI in specifically estimating and what are the we call them guardrails as it does analysis to the function of AI is would be to crunch through a lot of data, but not get so far ahead of the humanistic side of understanding the analysis. And so there's a theory behind that we're um, incorporating as well. Okay. Let me stop sharing here. Patrick, I sent you, well, I could do this here. Let me stop sharing and start it again because I lost my. Okay. So I'm gonna say tag. Oh, last thing is we need case studies on large projects. We'll use Cathedral Hill because that was very large, very, very here in San Francisco. We have a lot of data on that. We also need to find a mega project, very complex, that didn't go well. And John Lunn, you did some research last year, no, maybe it was this year, on a fission plant, I think that.
The NCSX new stellarator
Okay.
experiment. Yeah, they didn't do enough prep to figure out they could not assemble it.
Yeah, so they spent billions of dollars of manufacturing, billions and billions, and found out that the pieces didn't fit, and they ended up canceling the project after billions of dollars. So it's just something that I think would be worthwhile to mention about things that have to be considered at the beginning. Seems how everything is unique and sometimes only one type of manufacturing. Okay, and then the next is academia educational opportunities. And this is my last point here before I pass it over to Patrick. UC Davis, along with California State University, Fresno, um, uh, we have students that are very interested in this. And as many of you know, we've had a lot from UC Davis that have done some really great work and presentations for this group. And I'd like to continue that because I must say, and Anne and John, I know you were and I see Ashik. Night, good to see you. They were students. Ashik, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Ashik, you work for a major contractor right now out of LA, and just maybe reflect 30 seconds on what this, when you were a student, what this research group meant to you and how valuable was it to you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Um, no, I think I definitely learned a lot from this research group. It's something that's very different from classes in school. It allows you to, literally think outside the box, right? You're thinking out of this world. So
Yeah,
literally and figuratively. So I think those were it taught you to think a little differently from like just the usual standards of how you go through school. And now that I've entered the industry as well, I think that kind of a thinking and perspective does definitely help. So
yeah,
good learning and definitely great connections have built with other students like Anne and John and yourself as well. So um, yeah, just happy to be a part of the group.
great, good. Thank you. So we want to reach out to Berkeley and MIT. Steve, thank you for the introduction the other day. That was you're a connector, and I appreciate that, Steve, for and also Stanford as well. And I think, where we could get students, just like we have here at UC Davis, that are interested. They could be grad students or undergrad students. And typically, universities have independent study. At UC Davis, it's independent study. They get credit for it towards a degree. Has to be just so many units, and it's supervised by a professor, and pretty much all universities have that. So I'd like to formalize a bigger group that are from each university separately, but the students get together on a biweekly basis to discuss what they learned from this group. And it's again such a unique opportunity, not only for us as practitioners and educators, but also incredibly smart students that are yearning for this type of opportunity. So I look forward to that. If you want to help support that or help with helping with that initiative, please also send Anne a message on that one. All right, now I think I truly am at
Hey,
the
Paul.
bottom of my list.
Paul,
Yes,
can I
yes,
ask a quick question? So I know
sure.
you're always pushing the envelope. At first, I thought it was just a typo. I just kind of blew it off, but I realized that maybe you have a new system for what I would normally call peer reviews, but you've got career reviews, PREER. Is that a typo, or is there a special? Is there a new thing out there for reviewing? It,
Well, yeah, there is. It's just like a peer, but it's one letter better. No, that was a typo, me
oh,
typing
okay,
really fast.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
but
thought
but
maybe
See, this is a
I've learned
valid
something new here.
question though.
it
For
is.
It's a valid question because it could be something new, like it could be some acronym we
Yeah.
need to learn or something of that
Yeah.
sort. There
Hmm.
is
Or maybe it's a
legitimacy in the question.
free. I was thinking free peer review or some kind. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for giving me that type of uh, trust
Accolade.
accolade. But no, it was a typo. Uh,
Okay, fair enough.
but God bless you for such a respectful way you asked that question. Okay. Hey, Patrick, tag you're up. And do
Do
you
you,
want me to run the slide thing
yeah,
or
if
do
you
you
don't
want to
mind,
do
and
it?
bring up the slides,
Okay.
just get everybody
Let me need
reacquainted
to
with the.
okay, so let me just do this again. Okay. Let me see if I can for some reason it's not. Oh, there we go. Okay. So just tell me what page to go to.
Yeah, just scroll to the next one, and then so this is something that some of you saw before. We come up with an implementation plan to get this finalized, and we again for all the reasons that Paul laid out earlier, we didn't get to the execution. However, the plan upon Paul's review, my review, etc., we still think the plan is legitimate and the way to get this done. We just needed to change the dates, and we did that. And so we're going to go into that, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Go to the next slide, please. You guys can read through this. If Paul, if you could send this back out to everybody, it'd be great. But I think for the most part, all the things are still valid in terms of the goal, what we're
Sure.
doing as industry liaisons, and what the purpose of this plan is. Next slide. This just goes into, again, the goals of what we're working to do in terms of the output from this implementation plan. Next slide, please. And here's the dates that we changed. So right now we're in phase one. So what we're trying to do is get the total draft of all the documentation in the sections that we have. So finalize that by the end of the month of April. We want to be able to review that and have kind of a cohesive draft then. We want to make sure that we've got the right people engaged in this. So a lot of you are on the call already. Um, but if there are anyone else that needs to be involved in this implementation plan and working through kind of the stakeholder feedback we're going to get, we want to do that. So that would be in phase two. What we plan to do in phase three is really work to get feedback from the group on the initial draft. And then phase four, going into that, we're going to have a couple of sessions that we have virtually that are kind of where we use breakout rooms, etc., to get people's feedback in real time. Some of these may be people who were a part of putting the info together. Others will be groups or people that just want to be a part of refining it and a part of the kind of think tank mission of what we're doing in terms of the different sections and the different requirements. And then we go into really finalizing the paper from that peer review feedback, from that group think. We think that this gives it more credibility for the end users that we went through a process like this, that we got different thoughts from different leaders, different people, yes, drafting, but you're really leading and facilitating the drafting. There's other people and other voices that are going to be brought in so that we can get the best final product at the end, which we plan to deliver in September. That's the completion of the project. So this is a high level schedule that gets us back on track with the right steps. And then the rest of the presentation kind of goes into details in the different phases and what we're doing. Any questions about at a high level of this? Okay.
Do you want me to shove it to
One
the
thing,
next slide?
Paul, yeah, one thing
Yeah.
Paul wanted to ask, and Ann, are we still going to use Slack and Notion, or do we want to change that? Because that's originally what the idea was, and I don't know what the status of the Slack group is anymore, or kind of how we want to do that.
Yeah, the my input on that was I don't think we really had any conversations with Slack or Notion, and I'm wondering, um, I'm wondering if we would have a high rate of participation in that. And my recommendation, which could be poo-pooed at any time, even in this meeting, is maybe we just stick to emails right now, and it may not be complex, but if it does become complex, then maybe we integrate Slack and Notion. But uh, I just don't see a lot of communication moving back and forth very rapidly, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I think if it's not necessary, I think we'll adjust this with not, there's not really a requirement to use those. But how will we share data?
Yeah, so I wanted to make a note. So we aren't using Slack just because people aren't having much discussion there, but Notion is where our data room is, and we can
Okay, good.
Mm,
do that.
okay.
That's just the, site that we have for the study where, all the research papers and implementation plan, surveys for if you want to be involved, all of that is there, but we can definitely have a discussion outside of the meeting to see how we want to proceed.
Thank you, Anne. And that reminds me, if we have any new members that do not have any currently have access to the data room, please email Anne, and she'll get you access to the data room. You can look at all of the. It's she did a great job on it. It's very very well organized. So
Okay, so we still will use the Notion in the data room through Notion. Slack, we're going to take out. That's fine. Thank you. All right,
yeah.
next slide, please. We'll take out Slack. This goes over the data room. What we'll do is, Anne, if you can send me a link to get people to the data room, I can, once we update this, I can include it in there and we'll take Slack out. Next slide. All right, this just kind of goes over the phase one, which we're in. I'm not going to get this in detail. You guys can look at it again. But really, this is kind of the strategy for getting phase one in the month of April completed. Next slide.
If I may, I'd
Yep,
like
go ahead.
to
Sorry.
say no. This is you're awesome. I just wanted to make a note. One of our members who represented the United States Air Force, and his uh, duties were the Space Force, and he passed away about it was about 9 months ago or so. So I wanted his name was Ken or Keith Stout, and so we're going to keep his name because he made a lot of meetings and really contributed to this group. And we're sorry for, the loss. It was not expected. And it was shocked everyone. But we are keeping his name on the paper. So
Nice.
just FYI.
Very fitting.
Yes.
Next slide, please.
Okay.
Yeah, phase two, remember we talked about making sure we've got people that we want or think that we need to be engaged in helping. We want to get that list larger in terms of people that are going to review, but more importantly, people that are going to participate in the targeted sessions that we'll have in future phases. You'll see at the end of this we have a copy of the NDA. What I probably need to do, Paul, not probably, I need to do is just convert that. If we're good on that, I just need to convert that NDA into something that can be signed.
Yeah, I have a copy. I found it this morning, and I'll forward it over to Anne, and she can maybe put it in
Perfecto.
the data room. Yeah. It should I'm wondering, should people sign the NDA prior to the data room?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
what I think should be the precursor for all of anybody who gets access to the data room.
Yeah,
Should
okay.
be have you should have a signed NDA with them.
Yeah, and just so you know, I want to be very clear on this, because there's some folks with very large companies in this group. The NDA is protecting not only your individual intellectual property, but also your companies as well. So it's almost like an NDA that is more about, at least that's the way I interpreted it. It's more about protecting you, just to ensure any companies that you represent that the chain of ownership of intellectual property does not pass through to any other entity. So, okay.
All right, next.
Oh,
Keep going. There you go. So this is just getting, making sure everybody that's available, again, will take Slack out, but is able to look at the data room, start to engage with the documents, start to provide review session, start to provide review comments, etc. But then we're going to get into facilitated sessions, which basically use just good old fashioned groupthink. We'll organize and facilitate those workshops online, allowing people to participate. We'll use the breakout rooms function for specific breakout rooms. We actually use this on the very same process for an academic paper and research that was a public-private partnership initiative that we did with NASA. Well, not NASA. NASA was part of it. It was National Academy of Building Sciences, and we use that to work on helping out the VA for a lot of their challenges that they have running projects, etc. But the process went very well. We followed it up and we used it on another paper that we did for Congress, etc., with a multidiscipline group on reducing carbon emissions in healthcare facilities. So this is something that we've used in the past. It allows people from all different places to interact and integrate in a virtual world that keeps costs down, but gets us high level input from different people. And so we just need good moderators, which will organize good participants, and we'll able to that'll allow us to gather feedback that we normally wouldn't, and be able to reach people in a groupthink setting that we normally wouldn't, using technology to leverage it, etc. So that's
so
kind of,
that phase three, I think that's in June. So this would
yes,
happen
sir.
in June, right?
June
Okay.
slash early July, let's say.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Well,
we're
we
glad to
may,
get it scheduled.
well, what I'm thinking is maybe that is toward, I mean, we wouldn't be handling everything at the same time. It would be, it could be like phased. So potentially this could happen, at least some collaboration like this could happen maybe potentially in May, actually,
Yeah.
potentially, you know. But yeah, this is good. Go on to the next one or
Yep.
okay.
So phase 4 is really that refinement period, right? Getting everything refined, getting it completed, having an internal review by our core team and other stakeholders. We want to make sure and get peer review from external. So that may be from the universities, whatever you guys use, Paul, like you were mentioning earlier, and then make any final adjustments. And then the last phase is really just the completion. Next slide, please. Just finalizing it, getting it out, getting the right approvals, and then sharing it for the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basic. It's not anything you haven't done before as a professional. It's just trying to use and leverage the our ability to use these kind of forums to get the best input, and putting ourselves into a process that the core team wants to manage. And you ask about that core team. This is kind of an idea of really their key, getting their regular check-in meetings. We need people that are going to be at a high level, kind of addressing the challenges, aligning on the goals. So it needs to be a small group of no more than 7 people, preferably, because it's that group that's going to kind of steer things, be the tip of the spear, so to speak, and those
Yeah.
who are leading throughout this process.
Yeah. Okay. And then
And then
here's the
this is the that last slide is actually the NDA piece. What we want to put into a format that people can sign that, so that they can get access to the data room and be officially a part of this group.
Yeah. And if your agency or organization has any apprehension about this document, let us know, and maybe for that agency we can, there shouldn't be any reason why there should be a block on participating in this journey here. So if your organization has any alterations, well, Patrick, maybe you would take a look at that and see if that's something that we can alter. I mean, take it case by case, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I'm happy to provide that
Okay.
assistance. Yeah.
All right. And there's a couple more things. Were you done or
I'm done for my
I just
part. I mean, I thought that would,
no,
given
that's
with
perfect.
respect
Yeah.
to time, et cetera, I didn't want to go
Yeah.
into too many details, but I
I
wanted to.
have two more things I want to just mention, and then I'd like to open it up for comments and questions. The first is, when I was listing the parts we need to add, I forgot two here on my notes that I had down. I need help with uh, getting through all the processes that NASA currently has for estimating. It's very articulate, it's very advanced, doesn't necessarily address the construction side, which is the new, that's kind of the newness. And but I want to make sure that we're articulating um, with full knowledge, estimating process and correlating the way NASA expects and how they run, for instance, probability models and things of that nature. I need help on that. NASA has several documentation uh, um, informational books, but they're probably a couple hundred pages or so. One is on estimating, one's on project management, which goes into means and methods and things of that nature. But if you have any interest in that, please talk to Ann and Steve. I'd sure like to use you as a reference, not necessarily. I know you're a very busy man, but maybe as we go through documents that we're reviewing, maybe I can pick your brain to see if maybe we should go over other documents. Maybe you can see the document list and at some point, maybe in a couple weeks or something like that. That
Yeah, I'd be happy to take a look at that. I can ask around too. I don't do a whole lot of estimates for spaceflight projects, but I work with a lot of people that do. I will definitely see if I can find somebody who has expertise in this specific area because I think that would be valuable.
It would be amazing. It would be great. I mean, we're covered on GC side, architect side, owner side, subcontractor side, means and method, design, engineering. It really would make sense if we had some folks within NASA that are on the estimating side. The other thing that we have a big void on is we have past examples of NASA estimates, but they're very dated. We don't have anything current. When I say dated from the 80s, and it's it's not it's just too outdated. So if there's any opportunity, I know anything public that that NASA can share this group, that would be outstanding. And the reason is we want to articulate how they're currently breaking things down. We understand their code, but I want to see it in practice. Um, so I'm not sure if you're the right person to ask or Mark, or I'm not sure who to ask on that side.
Yeah, a lot of it now is coming directly from model-based systems engineering. So that might be why some of that stuff's hidden. As far as the terrestrial side, using the same methods as just about any other contractor.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Maybe that's superfluous then because the estimating and the work breakdown structure that you guys articulate, it's very clear. So maybe we don't need to go beyond just what's currently published from that. That's good. Very good. Next one, Jennifer, you brought this up a long time, quite a while ago, which is how we interact, how the estimate interacts very, very early on with design, because a lot of this technology is being developed before it hits even manufacturing. And we need to have a section in there, and if there's any volunteers on delivery process. Aerospace is not necessarily up to speed on integrated IPD or target value or things of that nature, which is being spearheaded by vertical construction and industry. So I think we need to address it. It's part of the main theory of process flow, where estimate starts at the very, very beginning. We won't get into the main theory, but it's something that we would be remiss by not having a section that grounds the why in communication, especially because this is inter um, interconnection with aerospace and construction. So, okay. We have 8 minutes. Anyone has any questions or comments before I start picking on people?
Just Steve said that NASA may have special requirements or restrictions regarding the NDA. So
Okay.
I'm assuming he'll get with you in terms of anything those are that we need to integrate.
Yeah, I'd say, Steve, whatever, for you specifically and NASA, I mean, that's kind of the main body here that um, I would say don't, we'll work it out, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
worry.
obviously we have a lot of requirements that we are already required to abide by that may meet the intent of this, but I'll run it through the lawyers and see what they say.
Yeah, sure, sure. And well, the intention is whoever has a hiccup on this, we'll work through it. Not a problem. This
Yeah, I
won't
think
be.
worst case, we would need to have a formal Space Act agreement, which isn't hard. It's just time consuming.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll add another year. No, I'm just no. All
We're all
right.
about accelerating processes right now, so
Okay.
we'll work through it.
Okay. That's awesome. All right. Any comments? Any questions? I'm gonna pick on Craig. Did you say you're online here?
I am online, yes.
Yeah. Craig, here's where I'm thinking your expertise is on robotics and elect and what yeah, that's right. You're at the airport. But I want to team you up with a couple people on this group when we start talking or we start addressing productivity analysis and how we figure that out. Because when we say production and labor, we probably need to consider the output of robotics in the same category as labor with a physical astronaut. And the only reason I say that, obviously, they're different. I understand that. But as far as a mission timeline, um, robots break down, things of that nature. And of course, we would separate astronaut from robotics, but to really understand in production how we break that out and how we predict it and how we find out if we're how the estimate is informed if production starts deteriorating as far as what the predicted state is. So we need to roll up our sleeves on that, and I'd like you to be on that team if you wouldn't mind. So, okay. Any
You still hear me, Paul? I'm
yeah, I
kind of
can
going
hear you.
between phone and computer. I apologize.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have another teammate who recently joined us, but she's on the staff at Stanford and is also background in construction robotics. So she's probably a great person for me to involve.
Yeah, that'd be great. And actually it ties in with Steve, I'll reach out to MIT for their work, but also try to get some of their students in this educational program. Because look, this is a joint initiative between industry folks, design, engineering, construction, but also academia. And I really want to make sure that it's obviously we're here to solve a problem, but we also want to educate the new great minds that are going to be solving their set of problems when it's time. So I really want to take advantage of this amazing opportunity that these students will get from this group. So um, let me see. Is there any other thoughts at this point? So let's do this. Why don't we should So, Patrick, this is a question for you. Should we set another meeting for next Friday for the core group?
I think
And
so. Yeah,
okay,
whoever that core team is, I think we should. Those should be 30-minute.
okay,
But let's just get 30 minutes with that core team for next Friday, I think,
okay.
and then we can then say what day and time work for everyone, and we can start to get those rolling meetings on the calendar, and
Yeah,
then
and I think a core group right now is just do you want to be involved as do you want to be on the core group? And I think that's how simple it is.
yes, let us
Um,
know for those who are on this.
yes. Uh, and that's the criteria. Or do you want to be just part of the group that meets once a month to hear how everything's going? And that's completely up to you. We're all practitioners, we're all educators, and we all have things to do. So that's great. I'd like to thank Patrick. Thank you so much. You're always a master facilitator. Thank you. Um, I'd like to thank everyone for joining this week for this meeting, and I look forward um, to seeing you next time. I'll poke a couple of you to see if I don't hear from you about the core group, but I'll go ahead and set another meeting from a month from today, and then if you want to be part of the core group, please just let Ann know, and then I'll send you an invite for next week. And those, like I said, or like Patrick said, there'll only be 30 minutes for the core group. All right. Any other last comments? We got 2 minutes.
Good.
I have one comment. I think it would help the group to get to know each other a little better if people put their cameras on. Just to
Yeah,
understand, kind
that's
of get
that.
put a face to a name.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
know people are reluctant, but
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's awesome. Okay. I agree with you. So, okay. Well, I'll see. Thanks again, Patrick. Thanks for everyone that joined us today. And I will see everyone again. I'm glad that we're back and running and looking forward to amazing work. So
Thank
we're
you.
getting there.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.
thank you.
Bye.
Hi, and thank you.